Hello and welcome to the Marketing Mix. Gosh, it's a lovely sunny day where I am in Hillingdon in West London, and I hope it's sunny with you as well. You've only got me this week, and this week I am going to talk about what you can put in your email newsletters. Now, half the battle of actually doing email marketing is knowing what to write about. And I know that a lot of small businesses struggle with this, and the reason their emails don't get sent is because they haven't a clue what to put in them. I know this from a recent webinar that I did for the lovely Susan Bonner at the British Craft House. When I asked the attendees what was stopping them from using email marketing, 71% of them said that they didn't know what to write about. So this is a real problem. So today I'm going to give you 10 ideas of what you can put in your newsletters to help you get those out. But before we step into that, let's just talk a little bit about why you should be using email marketing. Why should it be part of your toolkit? Now, if you've known me for a little while, you know that I always sing the praises of email marketing. I don't think you should use it exclusively. It's not the only tool I think you should use. I think you should have a marketing mix of tools that you use, and email marketing needs to be part of that toolkit. And here's why. The first thing is that it's reliable. Take a look at email marketing deliverability rates. That's how many emails get delivered to people's inboxes. That happens more than 90% of the time. Now look at social media organic reach. You know, the average reach of Facebook gets to just 0.0%. That's the organic reach that you get. So that means that if you have 100 people on your email list, that email gets delivered to at least 90 of them. If you have 100 Facebook fans, less than one person is going to see your post. Now, I'm not saying ditch social media altogether, just don't put all your eggs in that one basket. So another reason to use email is we still read emails, right? Think about it. I mean, outside of work, what emails do you get from service providers? All my bank statements are online, and my bank emails me when there's a new one available. My dentist sends me an email to confirm my appointment. I get emails from my family with various bits of information. We still read emails. It doesn't matter what age your target is. They still use email, right? Even the newbies always get confused between the different generations of people. But even, is it millennials or younger than that? They use email. So people are still reading emails. They're still in their inboxes. The next reason is that it works, right? Email marketing has a much better conversion rate than social media, organic social media. Now, what is a conversion rate? It's when someone clicks on your call to action and goes to the place that you want them to go. For email marketing, this can be 50 to 100 times the click-through rate as it would be from Facebook or Twitter. Right? So in fact, let's just go through some of the average click-through rates for those channels. So for email marketing, average click-through rates 3.57%. Facebook 0.07%. Twitter 0.03%. And Twitter just announced what its algorithm looks like this week and how it works. And links kill your organic reach. So they don't want you to share links. They don't want you to leave their platform. They want you to stay on their platform. And in fact, the thing that gets your posts seen most on Twitter is likes, not even replies. Just think about that conversion rate and look at how email marketing can help you to better convert your target audience. The last thing I want to talk to you about is your return on investment. Okay, I always recommend paying for an email tool. You get more functionality when you pay. And some tools even make you pay more for different bits of functionality. So I was setting up an email automation for a client in MailChimp. And I haven't actually done automations in MailChimp for a long time, and they've changed to journeys since I've done that. And my client's plan only allowed her 4 steps in her journey. So the first one was when the person joined the list. The second one was the email being sent immediately. The third one was a day's delay. And the fourth one was a second email. So we couldn't even get the 3 emails that she planned into that journey. So she had to upgrade to be able to add more than 4 steps. So be aware of what you pay for, but you do need to pay for email marketing, because if you use MailChimp, you only get 1 automation in that free version, and that's 1 welcome email. And actually, there are some really cool features that open up to you when you pay for email marketing, right? So even in the free options, it's costing you money. It's costing you money in the form of your time. Think about how difficult things are to do in free versions, that things that they don't allow you to do, that costs you time that you could be spending doing other things. So you need to make that investment. You need to make that return on investment as well. So if you're paying for email marketing, you need to make sure that that's bringing you a return. And email marketing gives you an average return of £35.41 for every pound you spend. And why wouldn't you want that? So think about the return that you get. Are you getting the same return for your social media efforts? And if you're not, then you need to be asking yourself what you can do to improve your return on investment for all of your marketing. So we've talked about why you should be using email marketing. Another thing I just want to touch on before we get to those 10 content ideas is, why should you use an email service provider? I mean, why can't you just use your Gmail or your Outlook or your Yahoo? Well, an email service provider is the software that you use to build your emails on it. You often hear me refer to it as an email tool. The email service provider, ESP, has spent a huge amount of time developing that software. They've built it from the ground up to help you and me build relationships with potential and existing customers. So what do you get when you use an ESP? The number one thing, data management. You do not want to be moving data around. I've got to tell you, I don't sit at my desk and think, oh, goody, I get to manage loads of data today. That's not what floats my boat. And I'm sure it's not what floats your boat. It's not what gets me up in the morning. But to be able to communicate with my newsletter readers, I need their data. I need at least their email address. I like to collect their email address and their first name so that when I send out my emails, I can at least address them by their first name. I'm starting to collect more data on my readers because I want to be able to tailor those emails better to them. So I want to be able to, if I start doing more in-person talks, potentially I could travel up to somewhere else in the country and do a talk. And I could, if I had the geographical data for my readers, I could send them an email for that area and tell them that I'm going to be there. That data is hard to manage, right? But my email service provider manages all that data for me, from collecting it to making sure that I don't email people who don't want to hear from me anymore. Right? Those people that unsubscribe, as difficult it is, and it's still hard when I lose people, especially when they tell me I email them too much, when I tell them specifically I will email them once a week. It's a real bugbear. But that email service provider manages all of that data for me. That frees up my time to do stuff like this live, writing blog posts, finding new customers. It's much more productive for me. It's way, way, way more useful for me as well. And it is for you. You do not want to be managing all that data. The next reason to use an ESP is you get ready-made templates. We all want our business communications to look professional, right? We want to look every bit as good as the bigger companies that we compete against. And this is what an ESP, email service provider, lets you do. They give you customizable templates where you can add your brand colors and your logo. That only serves to reinforce your brand and make your emails more recognizable. And when your emails are recognizable, people read them. They say, oh, that's from so-and-so. Oh, that's from Marketing by Manal. I need to read that. She always sends me stuff that's interesting or helpful or useful. And you know what else? Even if you think a particular template isn't for your business, but you like the layout, you can use it. You just need to make a few tweaks. Again, we come back to paying for an email marketing tool. So the free version of MailChimp gets you some very basic templates. When you start paying, that opens up more polished templates. The same with MailerLite. It's difficult. There aren't many templates open to you. The minute you pay, you can start using templates that make you look unique. Honestly, every time I get an email, a marketing email, I can generally tell when that email has been created in MailChimp because the templates all look the same. So there's another reason to pay for an email service provider. And the next reason is mobile friendly, right? There used to be a time when emails were only read on computers. We were tethered to our desks, but we travel around. And we use these to read our emails. Now, email service providers design their templates to work on all types of different devices. That means that your email will look good on a laptop, a tablet, or a smartphone. And that's important when you come back to trying to portray that professional image. Okay, so you want to look good and you want people to be able to read your email regardless of the device that they use. The last thing I want to touch on, which really is my favorite bit of email marketing, but not many people think about this, is the reporting. Now, if you're thinking, oh, God, she's crazy, that doesn't sound really exciting, you're wrong. I'm going to tell you you're wrong. The reporting is where the magic happens, okay? It's where you find out whether the subject line that you spent ages crafting actually worked. How do you do that? You look at your opens. That's one thing that your opens is telling you, that the subject line actually enticed people to open your email, right? The other thing that the opens will tell you is whether, what's the best time for you to send. I get asked this question all the time. What's the best time to send my emails? Your reports are going to tell you that. The opens will tell you if it's going at the right time. Typically, the majority of your opens will happen within the first 3 hours of sending. Look at that 3-hour block. When was the big spike in opens? I've been following this guy on LinkedIn who is also an email marketing expert, and I've forgotten his name. But he gives lots of useful tips on email marketing, and some of them I never even occurred to me. But one of his tips is, well, everyone sends their emails out on the hour, but typically people will read their emails in 15-minute blocks. So rather than send your email at 10 a.m. when their inbox is going to get inundated, why not send it at 10:05 a.m. when they've perhaps read the first few emails and they go back to check, see if they've got any more. So we've talked about subject lines and opens. So another thing that reports will help you to understand is, well, is that blog post that you spent over 2 hours writing really interesting to your subscribers? How are you going to know that? Well, how many people clicked on the link to read that blog post? If it was more people than you normally get click on links, then you know that this is something that really interests them. what could you do with that piece of information? Well, if the blog post is interesting, would you be able to turn that blog post into a workshop that they perhaps pay to attend? You go into a deeper dive, you show them exactly how to do whatever it is that you wrote about. That's something to explore, right? And that's where your report is really important. It helps you understand whether people like the information that you're putting in your emails. So using those reports is going to help you make better marketing decisions. So if you had been thinking, oh, actually, I want to introduce this new product, I think there's a really big need in the market for it, you might want to write a blog post about what your thoughts are around that product, how people would use it, what benefit it would have for your target market. Send it to your email list. See what the reaction is. If lots of people are reading it and perhaps coming back to you and going, oh my God, yes, I need this, you know you're heading in the right direction. And that's helping you make real business decisions. And when that happens, that's more money in your bank account. Okay. So let's get to the nitty-gritty of why you're here, right? What do you put in your newsletters? What do you put in your newsletters? So, got 10 ideas for you, okay? So, I always recommend that you have an email marketing plan. It's the best way to make sure that your emails go out consistently. And once you know what you're going to write about, the actual writing is much easier. Okay, it doesn't take long. When I put together my newsletter, I send one out every week on a Tuesday. I made a boo-boo this week, though. I sent it out yesterday by mistake. But when I put it together yesterday, it was done and dusted in under 15 minutes. So I'll just let that sink in under 15 minutes. Because I send every week, I only ever talk about one thing. And that obviously that makes it easier to write. But even though I only talk about one thing, it gets way more easier because I know what I'm going to write about. So every 3 months, I will spend time planning out the next 3 months worth of content, and that includes what I'm going to put in my emails. So I'll be doing that later this month for May, June, July. So at the beginning of May, I'll know every single piece of content for every email that I'm going to send out for those 3 months, and they go out weekly, right? So let's think about content for your newsletters and to get you started. So number one thing that I could think of, because I do a lot of this and I have a lot of this content, is blog posts, right? Writing longer content gives you the opportunity to create lots of shorter bits of content that you can share on social media. It makes sure that your website is updated with regular new content, which is good for for being found in search. So that's 2 reasons why you should be using blogging. Okay. Now, it provides content for your newsletter. You've taken the time to write something helpful, so shouldn't you share it with your subscribers? They're not chomping at the bit, waiting, visiting your website every other day to see if you've published something new, right? They're not doing that. So you need to tell them that what you've written something new, it's there for them to go and consume, and you tell them in your newsletter. And doing that is really great because it gives them something useful. It gives them some piece of education that's going to make their lives, their working lives or their personal lives, better. So the second thing that I want to share that you can put in your newsletters is industry news. What's happening in your part of the business world? Is there a piece of legislation that your readers should be aware of? Is there a new development that means working with you will make their lives easier? Think of all the marketing experts you follow to keep up to date with on social media developments. It's useful, isn't it? When they send you an update of what's happening in the world of social media, it really helps you. It really helps you understand. That piece that I talked about, the Twitter algorithm, it's from a social media expert that I follow. So providing that kind of useful information to your readers is a really good piece of information that you can share in your emails that makes your readers think, well, actually, it's worth getting this email because I didn't know that and they've told me, and it's going to make an impact to my life or to my business life. Another idea, FAQs. Okay, I bet you get asked certain questions loads of times. Wouldn't it be great to be able to point people to something that you've written the answers for these questions? So if you've got an FAQ section on your website, share it in the newsletter. You never know. It might prompt some other questions that you can add to those FAQs. And it keeps your readers, some of whom are customers, up to date. And for those who aren't customers, it gives them an insight into what it's like to work with you. Next thing on the list, curated content. So what's curated content? It's a fancy way of saying content from other people. Not random people, but ones that you trust, right? So maybe you know a few people who run a complementary business to yours. You can share their content with your readers, adds a little extra dimension to your emails, and it shows that you're well connected. It also means that you don't have to write everything, right? Don't have a lot of time, can't write everything. What can you share? Just make sure that you read what you're going to share first. So you know that it's relevant. It's not saying things that perhaps go against your values, or it's not, controversial that would impact negatively on your business. So make sure you read what you're going to share first. And of course, give credit to the person or the company that wrote it. And if you do that, that company may well ask to share some of your content, which means you get in front of their readers, an audience that you don't have. Maybe they've got a completely different email list to you. So you get in front of people that don't know you. Next thing, your experiences, right? Running a business is tough. Sometimes it's good to lift the curtain on your business and share something about your experience. Now, I'm not one for sharing loads of personal information, and I know lots of people don't want to do that. They don't want to share a lot about their personal lives. But I do share things about my experience of running a business. So even if you sell to other people, B2C, it can be a great way to connect with your readers. And doing it makes, it shows the person behind the business. And that's only going to help strengthen your connection with your readers. One thing that I get asked for a lot is customer stories. So that's a great thing to share. It's a great way to show how you help your customers, but not in a salesy way. So always get permission from your customers first, of course, but by sharing their experience, you're actually selling what you do, but in a softer way. It helps you tell your readers why it's great to work with you or buy your products. It gives you credibility, and it shows how prospective customers could benefit from buying your product or service. But they hear it from someone who's already done that. And isn't that a better way? We all rely on reviews. Like whenever you want to buy something, I got this webcam. When I was looking to buy this webcam, I asked for recommendations. I read reviews. I read tons of reviews from I don't know how many different webcams from people that I didn't know, and made my decision that way. So having someone who's already your customer share how you help them is a really positive way to show people what you can do and how you can help them. Another really good piece of content for your newsletters is sales and promotions. Okay, you want to be able to sell your product or service. All right, and let's not beat about the bush here. If you don't sell stuff, then you don't have a business. Okay, it's okay to sell in your emails, just not all the time. No one wants that kind of email unless that's what you specifically signed up for. So if you went to a business and you signed up to get they're deals and offers. That's what you're expecting, and that's what you want. So when you think about adding promotions and offers to your emails, just cut yourself some slack. Do it, right? Just how else will your readers find out about what you do? You can do it, just not all the time. Another thing that you could put in your emails is events. So the email that I sent out by mistake yesterday had the latest webinar for my email list. So the Marketing Morsel Club. So they get four webinars a year just for them, and that's what I sent out yesterday for them to register for an event. So maybe you have a regular live on social media, or you're planning a webinar. Maybe you've got a shop and you're planning an open day. Whatever the type of event, you can absolutely talk about this in your newsletters. You might give people additional notice. Maybe that's the benefit of being on your email list. Maybe they get advance notice. Now, if they don't know about your event, they can't attend it, right? So typically I recommend that you give people, like for webinars and in-person events, give them around 3 weeks notice. And don't forget to send a reminder closer to the time. I've got 2 more things to share with you for you to put in newsletters. The next one, surveys and polls. How often have you wished that you knew what your subscribers want? Or maybe what they think about a particular subject? You can ask them, right? You can put a poll in your newsletter, and that could be enough for your needs. But if you want something a little bit more in depth, you could include a survey, a link to a survey. There are lots of tools to help you create an online survey. If you are not paying for an email marketing tool, if you've got a free version, you might not have a survey option, in which case you could use something like Google Forms, and that's simple. But if you consider paying for your email marketing tool, that might even have a survey option. I know mine does, so look out for that. And then the last thing that I want to sort of flag to you to put into your newsletters is competitions. So nothing captures people's attention like competitions. You know, it's the thrill of winning. And, you know, remember that competition that you ran on Instagram, the one that had loads of comments that people loved. How about sharing that with your readers? They'll still enter in the same way as your Instagram followers. So you get them over to your Instagram page. Usually you will have like or comment. So you tell people what they have a chance of winning, and you tell them how to enter. Make sure that you link directly to the piece of content where they do that. So if you've published your Instagram post, you take the link from that, put it in your email, and that's more comments on your post, more entries for your competition. Gives you an additional piece of content when you announce the winner. So those are 10 ideas to inspire you in terms of writing content for your emails. Now, the 10 quite different ideas, and I do recommend that you use a variety of content when you write your emails. And I usually talk about, at this point, the 80-20 rule. So 80% of the time, you want content that will educate, inform, or inspire, or even entertain your readers. Okay, so that's the content that you want to put in your emails 80% of the time. 20% of the time, you want information that promotes you. So those sales and promotions, the events, those kinds of things, 20% of the time, so that you're actually getting something for your money. So your investment means that, you know, things are happening, positive things are happening for your business that lead to sales. Fab. So I know that coming up with content, I've given you 10 ideas, but, you know, coming up with content can seem daunting. You don't have a lot of time to figure it out. So why don't I do it for you? I will research and send you a year's worth of content for sending out monthly emails. You'll get 36 mix and match topics that will help you to share content to educate, inform, and inspire your readers, as well as to sell to them. Okay, So I'm just going to post a link in the comments. If you're interested, go have a look at this page and let me know. The bonus with this is that everything that I suggest, you'll be able to use to share on social media. And you'll be able to take some of the topics and write blog posts, which, again, will form content for your newsletters. So take a look at that link and let me know if I can help you. Gosh, that half hour went really quickly. I will be back in 2 weeks' time with another edition of the Marketing Mix. Next time, I'm talking about how to use email sequences. It's something that I think every small business owner should be using. It's really important. It's an absolute secret weapon for small businesses. So do come and watch me and listen to that. And if you've got any questions on newsletter content, let me know. I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Take care. Bye.